Hello, everybody. Kevin J. Johnston here. This is our newest show, Amazing Dating Advice, where we talk about dating in the modern world and crazy relationships and all the other nutty things that go along with it. This, of course, is a call-in show. If you decide that you do want to have your questions answered, you can always email us. There's the email address in the bottom right corner. If you would like to come into the show, have your face seen, or have your voice heard, do indeed just email me with your contact information. I will jump on the phone with you, or we can give you the link to come into the show and ask your questions. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Melanie Schweitzer will be joining us in approximately 20 minutes. She's just having a little bit of trouble there. That gorgeous woman, here, let me just show you one more time. This gorgeous lady here that does this show with me is a grandmother. Can you believe it? I didn't believe it either. She's just dealing with grandkids right now. And of course, we do fully understand family. You want to make sure family is taken care of first. All right, let's dive right into it. I've got a video to show you, which is relevant to what many of you were asking. Some of you were saying that there wasn't enough dating advice being given here. So let's do almost exclusively dating tonight. So this gal here is like many on TikTok and many on YouTube who think they have all the answers, but indeed have very few. Let's play it, and then we're going to start commenting on what she had to say here. Go ahead.
If you're a single girl out here in these streets and you're thinking, am I crazy? Or are these guys like not even wanting to date and hook up, let alone get married? Am I the problem? Are we why these men don't want to get married? I have good news and bad news. The good news is you're not crazy. The bad news is it's worse than you thought. The very minuscule amount of kingpin level good men, the ones that are actually husband material, are almost certainly already married, about to be, or here's your very grim reality check, rotting away to near extinction. There goes our last name. Oh my God, she's so dramatic. Am I?
Okay, so that's enough of that. What we have is a gal here. She goes on to lay a lot of the blame on men. I don't care. She's allowed to do whatever she wants. But a lot of you ladies out there are wondering why it is that men are walking away. 63% of men in North America between 18 and 30 have just walked away from it. They have zero interest. You want to know why? Now, I am the only one who's going to give you honest answers, gals, and you're not going to like all of my answers, and you will like some of them, but we are not here for a popularity contest. We're here to tell the truth and help everybody find some type of peace or some type of solace. Okay. Reason number one is they fear being exploited for financial gain. This is one, ladies, where we have so many guys out there interviewing young women under 30 as to what the value of an engagement ring should be, what the value of a car should be that he owns before you'll date him, how much money he needs to make, and how tall he is. That one always comes up. And there's a lot of girls out there who is stating that even in this rotten economy, he's got to be making $500,000 a year. The ring's got to be $150,000. He's got to be driving a Porsche or McLaren. He's already got to own his own house. He can't really be all that friendly with his family and so on. Well, those are incredibly high standards. And I guess you'd have to ask yourself the question, especially if you're a gal under 30, is what the hell do you have to offer a guy like that? So men feel that they're going to be exploited for financial gain because, as we've talked about in previous shows, men will work longer hours. They'll work very dangerous jobs. They'll take all the overtime that they can get. They'll put their money away. They'll save everything they possibly can. And when they meet that special gal, they'll put pretty much everything they have into her. But especially in the United States, this is where it gets really bad, is you get married. Now you're in a contract where half of what you had before you met and half of what you have after you have met or get married, belongs to her. Half, no matter what, half is hers. Well, that's completely and totally unfair. And not too many men out there are appreciating this anymore. And a lot of guys out there are taking advice from men who are in their 40s and 50s, my age, who have been through nasty divorces and lost absolutely everything, including access to their own children. So if you're going to be dating modern women who are in this extremely self-centered society, that's men and women both, by the way, then the chances of you being exploited for your finances and then exploited for alimony afterwards and half of your stuff are incredibly high. Men aren't taking the chance. So they're occupying their time with other endeavors. Next one is toxic femininity. You've all heard the term toxic masculinity. Well, let's talk about toxic women. And the toxic women are the ones who will use every manipulative tactic whatsoever to get what they want from a man. They'll scream, they'll yell, they'll hurl insults. They'll make statements like, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to put myself on Tinder and go get laid. I'll sleep with your friend Mark. Whatever it might be. These are excessively toxic traits. But even worse, we covered this, I think, last week, is that there's a lot of women girls under 30 who have their cameras or their phones or or whatever they've got recording arguments with their boyfriends, their husbands, their significant others. And then they're turning around and putting these arguments on social media. That's over the top toxic. Then they'll pull the narcissistic move of blaming him as to why she's angry. Well, I got to cover that one. And this goes to men and women out there, especially if you want to be in the dating game. You are in control of your emotional state. It's not someone else's fault that you got mad and you lost your temper and you're putting your forehead through a window. That's you. So if somebody is disrespecting you, you've got the right to walk away from them. What's the point of getting angry and screaming and yelling at the top of your lungs? That's toxic behavior. But North America, we have convinced our young ladies they don't need men. Men are useless. Get what you can from him. And having a really high body count is a good thing. Like the feminist movement out there has been convincing young ladies they should have 20 or 30 sexual partners before they buckle down and get married. Any guy who would accept a woman who's had 30 sexual partners, especially with no condoms and whatnot, in the past, is really no man. That would be a beta male that she'll be taking advantage of because there won't be any masculinity or self-confidence in a guy like that. And it's really sad, but it's also at the same time really true. And that's the last thing that I would like to see is weak men being taken advantage of that way, which is why I keep telling men, guys, go to the gym, build your vocabulary up, take cold showers, do whatever it takes to toughen up, because there's a lot of toxic women out there. And that is the education system, Hollywood, and the feminist movement making them toxic. Number 3, as we found out, more than half of men said so many women have unrealistic standards and expectations. We covered that very briefly, but one more time. I want a man who's 6'2", makes $500,000 a year. He's got 3 cars, he's got his own house, he's got a vacation property. He can fly me anywhere I want to go. And he's just going to have to put up with the fact that I want to go to the bar with all my friends and get drunk. And I want to dry hump guys on the floor. And he's just going to have to like it because I say so. That's pretty unrealistic. Now, I think it's less than 8% of men are over 6 feet tall in North America. You don't really have that wide a selection. And is it a problem, ladies, if your man or the man you've just met is 5'11" and a quarter, 3/4 shy of 6 feet? Is that going to make a difference? He'll be 6 feet with a good pair of shoes on, but you're still looking at the fact that your expectations are of something that rarely exists. When you're trying to grab 8% of the market, you had better be able to market yourself. You better be able to sell yourself as something that a guy like that would actually want. And if you're a toxic woman who's into feminism, you're not going to be that. So if your ladies really want to know why men are walking away from dating, is because the unrealistic standards they're aggravating. We can't meet them. And the older men get, the less they care what your particular thought processes are on what he has and what he does not have. Most men in their 40s and 50s won't tell you what they have until 4 or 5 years down the road, because they don't want a woman who's in it for the gold. They would like the companionship and, of course, the sex that goes with companionship without the gold digging. As men, our feelings are rarely ever considered, and we know this. So we have to be excessively cautious. All right. So many guys are afraid of commitment in long-term relationships to greedy women. This is a societal thing, so I'm not cutting up women all over the planet. This is North America. Again, Hollywood, the feminist movement, TikTok, toxic people like Lizzo and whatnot have yelled at the top of their lungs at women, you need to be big and fat and gross and ugly and broke and destitute and have nothing to offer, yet demand everything in the world from a guy. And if he doesn't in any way, shape, or form meet even one of your standards, leave because you can do better. And you can't. Really, if you look like Lizzo, you certainly cannot. The idea of getting into a long-term commitment or committed relationship is something that most men, most, not all, most, and certainly not some, most men would love to have. Most men would love to have a caring, loving, respectful wife, a house, 2 cars, the occasional vacation, a couple of kids. They want that. But these days, it's very difficult to acquire that. And it's, again, I cannot stress enough. If you have a feminist in your life, ladies, you got to walk away. That's no friend of yours. You certainly don't. You don't want that at all. And yes, Rick, non-woke. It's easy, guys. Only date older women who vote PPC. Okay, I get that. When I was in my teens and my 20s, I typically dated women over 30 because the conversation was better. It was a lot more interesting, stimulating. All right. Number 5, ladies, and you are competing with this, but young men these days especially are a lot more interested in careers than they are dating. Dating is a distraction. Let's call it what it's for you, for you ladies and for men. It's a distraction. It takes away from the achieving of goals. And with so many guys out there with visions of grandeur, all wanting to start the next Amazon up and have billions of dollars to their name, they're going to be highly, highly focused on career. So if you are looking to break through that, ladies, you have to be able to, you've got to be better than average. And I know it's difficult these days, if you are better than average, to be noticed for being better than average. But if you got a guy who's just solely focused on career, you're not going to crack that egg. I would say move on to a guy who's a little less focused on career. Now, the other one, you want to know why it's so difficult to find good men, ladies, especially in the dating game, is that casual relationships are rampant. Tinder's made it easy for gay guys to get together, gay girls to get together, straight people to get together, polyamorous people to get together, and so on. There's now this whole idea that you can jump onto an app, flip through, a couple of jokes go back and forth, and now you're in someone's bedroom. So yes, casual relationships are at an all-time high because of the technology. So it's not like men are out there going to the nightclubs and working the room. It's that easy for both parties, regardless of sexual orientation, to get some. So the casual relationship, which is obviously cheaper than the solid long-term relationship when you're courting someone for marriage, it's cheaper, more convenient, and in many cases, you don't even sleep in the same house or the same apartment together. You know, you do your thing and someone leaves. And for whatever the reason, a lot of people prefer waking up alone these days as opposed to waking up and making conversation and having that cup of coffee with someone else. And this is something that a lot of men under 35 are talking about. It's easier to have a casual relationship because North American women are difficult to figure out. I wish they weren't. And I have to kind of agree with that. I mean, the older I get, of course, the more I figure out, but I would hate to be a man 30 years of age looking for a woman between 27 and 35. I would hate it these days. All right. Next, dating demands effort that does not tend to be worth it. Now, that is a double-edged sword. And that one, of course, ladies, does go both ways. You know, there's a lot of men out there who aren't worth your time. There's a lot of women out there who aren't worth men's time. But I think what's going on here is there's just so much negativity in the world right now that you have men looking a couple of moves down the road and they're saying, yeah, you know, this girl here, she's kind of cute. She's got a love handle on one side. She's a little too short for me, a little too tall for me. So it becomes an instantaneous, temporary thing for them. It's not like the old days where you were looking for that dynamite personality, someone that you gelled with. Right now, it's everything. She's got to have the perfect breast, the perfect stomach, the perfect legs, perfect ass, perfect everything. And with it, if someone's going to be dating and that's what they're looking for superficially, they're going to be very disappointed, which means that these relationships are going to remain casual. They're not going to be anything other than a casual style relationship. Now, it's sad that it's happening, but it's true that it's happening. So again, ladies, this is not insulting women. By no means am I insulting you. I'm letting you know that men have become complicated because society made women complicated. All right. So next one here. Most guys are yet to meet personal goals and in life. Now, this is good and bad. This is very good and it's very bad. If a guy has a set goal that he wants to own a house and a car and a boat and a trailer and maybe a cottage before he gets married, then that guy ain't getting married till like 40, 45. All right. I said stuff like that in my teens and 20s, that I had to have a house and a car and a boat and a cottage. I said that. And then I got a little bit more realistic. I managed to get the house at age 30, which I'm still happy about beyond reproach. And a really, 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 really crappy car, but I had both. Didn't have the cottage, didn't have the boat, didn't have the trailer. But throughout my 20s, I grew to learn that having a boat and a trailer was nothing more but it was work. It was just pure work. That's all that those things are. It was better to go on someone else's boat if I was looking for an afternoon away from it all. So the idea here of the personal goals, if his goals are really, really, really high, house, cottage, 50 bars of gold, whatever it might be, that's a lot. And that guy has actually taken himself out of the market because his goals, he's so goal oriented. But that's the bad part about having goals as such. And I've come across a lot of stories where men in their 20s gave up just absolutely amazing relationships because their women wanted to get married to them and start a family. And they kept saying, well, no, I don't have my boat yet. I don't have my golf clubs yet. I don't have my 100-inch television set yet. I got to do all that before I have kids. And now that I've raised two, I'm thinking to myself, none of that stuff was necessary because it was more fun to play Lego and toys and hide and seek and peekaboo and whatnot with kids than it was to have a large TV playing in the background. So yeah, men do have these stupid expectations of themselves, which are next to impossible now in this modern economy. So unfortunately, ladies, if you're coming across a guy who lists all these goals and then you ask him, well, how many have you attained? And he says none. Just walk away. Don't bother dating a guy like that because his focus is never going to be on you. He's not someone that can figure out a good work-life balance. He's someone who's going to work himself to death. He'll hit 40, he'll have his toys, and that's when he's going to start looking. And if you are, let's say, 29 and you're hot to trot and eager to have kids and whatnot, do you really want to wait until he's 40 to get married to him and have kids? Like, would any woman out there wait 11 years for a man? I wouldn't wait 11 hours. So, I mean, let's think about that. And that is, that's a very, very serious one, gals. So guys, go ahead. I mean, have goals. Goals are great, but make them realistic. That's my advice to you. Like the goal that I've set for myself, being able to bench press 300 pounds by the end of this year. It's a goal. All right. And it's a goal that only requires an hour and a half of my time, 5 days a week. That's all that it requires. And when I give you the hour and a half of time, that includes the travel time. And so that goal is not going to get in my way of anything that I need to achieve in that particular day. It's not going to get in my way of having a dinner with a nice gal. All right. It's a realistic goal. Let's set them more realistically. All righty. Here's another one. There's a lot of men out there, a lot of young men in their 20s who believe that they are too young to settle down. Well, I've said this before, guys. All right. And I actually said this to my son too. I was explaining this to him. I've had 40 plus whatever girlfriends. I don't even remember. I'd have to really think about them all. But if I had to go back in time, let's go back to 1988. I'm turning 18 years of age. If I was given the choice of knowing what I know now about having 40 lovers or having one amazing woman in my life who's my best friend, my confidant, my best lover, she's got my back, You know, she makes a sandwich for me, gives me a kiss when I walk out the door. I bring flowers in. She's happy to see the flowers, happy to see me, appreciates what I do and say. If I could have that as opposed to 40 lovers, I would take that for the rest of my life. And if that meant at age 18 that I only had one lover all the way through life, but I have a woman who's by my side from 18 to 88, I would much rather take that. I would be the first one in line to take that. And there's a lot of men out there like that. But for whatever the reason, society tells men that at 26, you're too young to get married. 22, you're too young to get married. But 26, 27, 28, if you actually have an idea in your head as a young man, you want a family. Well, don't wait until you're 40 or 50 to start one up. You know, think about that. My kids are about, I don't know, half my age. I would hate the idea of being 52 now and just having my first. I mean, I'd be joyous. Now I'm a father, but think about all that youth that I could have had with them. Now, I would be 72 when he's 20. It's not good. All right. So, guys, you're never too old to settle down with the right girl. Ladies, you are competing with society's unwritten rules that men in their 20s and early 30s are too young to settle down. Now, I know that a lot of you ladies out there are going to think that you can needle him and harass him and beg him and plead with him and cry and do all that, and he's going to give in and marry you. No, don't do that. Don't do any of that. He's going to walk. Instead, what you got to do, if you're 27, he's 27, and the two of you think that the two of you are perfect together, you got to find out from him if he thinks the two of you are perfect together. And the only way to do that is to sit down, like straddle him with a hot tea or something like that, you know, like put your arms on his chest, look him in the eye, and talk to him about it without no pouting, no whining. I wanted to get married by this age. Don't do that. If you do that to your man, he interprets that as an attack. That is an attack on his masculinity, an attack on his character, and an attack on him. The more you attack, the more he walks away. So if you could have, let's say you could have gotten married within a year with a face-to-face conversation. If you do that whining crap, you've extended it by a year, possibly two. I'm telling you how men think. Don't ever come off as somebody who's whining, complaining, crying, or being adversarial. Don't guilt your man. He is going to walk away, or he'll do stuff excessively, begrudgingly to shut you up. And it's not a good idea, ladies, when you're dating, to be the person who gets what you want only because you're whining and crying and complaining. Because he's going to be pissed off with you perpetually. 24 hours a day, he's going to be angry. It's not a good idea. So have a conversation face to face to find out if when you're in the dating phase, if that's exactly what he wants. Now, ladies, here's one you don't know. And I guarantee you do not know this. I guarantee you that so many of you out there have gone to other women for advice on this. But let me tell you the truth about men and how our brains work. We never even realize that we are dating you. We just don't know. We have no idea. Yeah. I could be hanging out with a lady every single day for 4 or 5 months. And every single day we're sleeping together, we're dancing together, restaurants together, talking on the phone, texting back and forth, flirting, whatever it might be. But I still have no idea I'm in a relationship with her. I'm a man. I'm not a woman. Unless there is an actual declaration, we are now a couple. Men have no friggin' clue that you are in a relationship with them and he's in a relationship with you. Scary thought, isn't it? Bet you didn't know that, but it's 100% true. So when you gals out there are in this dating thing, and let's say you've gotten to your 9th or 10th date and everything's going really, really, really well, you might be thinking that, okay, I'm going to hang around this guy next couple of months. He seems like he's it. But he may not know that. He may not be thinking that. And that's where a very adult, very serious eye-to-eye conversation takes place, where you can say to him, look, I'm interested in pursuing this relationship with you further. Could I request that we are exclusive to each other? How many men are going to say no to that? Probably none. All right. Because all of a sudden now what he's thinking in his mind is like, oh, okay, so she's really serious about me. Like, ding, cool. That's how your guy is going to see it. So the more forthright you are, gals, the better off you're going to be in this lifetime. You really will do quite well if you are forthright and forthcoming as such. Alrighty. This one here is not one I'm really not really proud of men who say this at all. In fact, I think it's kind of a lazy excuse. But women, unfortunately, a lot of guys see dating as very demanding and very stressful. And with all the stimulus that they have out there, Hulu, Netflix, Crave, Prime, video games, and with all of the vintage arcade bars and restaurants opening up all over the place and all the virtual reality shops, the vaping shops, like there's just so many things to distract himself with. So a lot of men under 30 will say like, yeah, it's really stressful and it's really demanding. Those are the chicken shits. Pardon my French. They're the cowards. If you come across a guy like that who says, oh, it's just so stressful, that's not a man. It's not a man. That's a beta cuck. Walk away. Find a man who does not make stupid excuses as such. And I'm telling you, the excuse thing, the difference really between the successful man and the unsuccessful man is that the successful and unsuccessful man both have the same problems in life. The successful guy just doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care. He's not going to make an excuse. Let's say the unsuccessful guy and the successful guy in this example both had abusive fathers and mothers who took off on them, and they've been through 9 different relationships, and all these women stole from them and beat them and threw stuff at them and so on. Now, the unsuccessful guy is going to say, well, I'm not going to go on any dates because it's so stressful and I've been hurt so many times. And the successful guy will say, yeah, okay, I came across 9 bitches. My old man was an idiot. But next, I'm ready to meet the next one. I'm ready to take on the world. You want to find men like that in your life who, or in the dating game especially, who do not make excuses. Excuses in dating are pretty ridiculous. Making stuff up like, my car doesn't work. Like conveniently 30 minutes before date time, guy, your car doesn't work. You couldn't have tested it earlier in the day. It was fine yesterday and the day before, but now, or the other excuses that guys will make, because what probably happened here is some other stimulus has come up and he wants to go and do that because it's more fun. So he'll make up an excuse. Guys, if you make a date with a gal, go. Ladies, if a man breaks 2 dates on you, walk away. That's representative of who he is, what he is, and what he will be all the way through your relationship. Dan, just walk from a guy like that, period. And the same thing, guys, if you come across a lady who's going to be out there booking times with you and then not showing up or booking dates with you and canceling them, especially on the phone and text, that is just so callous, cold, and cruel. You got to walk. People who don't keep dates or keep commitments are not someone who can keep a serious commitment. If they can't commit to just having a cup of coffee for an hour, they can't commit to raising children. They can't commit to a wedding date and inviting everybody and putting up with the stress of a wedding, which I'll never do again. You got to walk away from people like this. My advice to everybody is make a date, keep the date. And if something does come up, like, I don't know, car insurance gets canceled or somebody is sick or whatnot, and you can't drive the 22, 25, 90 kilometers it takes to get this date to happen, then do a Zoom date. Both you can pour a glass of wine in your own places and talk to each other, but with the camera on, with no other stimulus. So, like, don't be on the phone like as you're doing the Zoom call with them. Look into the camera, look at them on the screen. You can do these things. Or, if your dinner date gets canceled at a restaurant because, I don't know, the restaurant has flooding or a fire or a terrorist attack, then have a cup of tea at a tea house somewhere else. Don't just rely on the fact that something came up and you're going to accept that as the termination of that particular date. Find an alternative. For me, if a woman breaks a date with me, but tells me in the same conversation or the same sentence that I've got to break our date for 8:30 because this came up, but I'll be there by 1. Okay, I accept. And if she actually shows up between 10 to 1 and 10 after 1, I'm ecstatic. So there's nothing wrong with moving things around if you have to. But don't just break a date. Break a date, reschedule, keep the rescheduled date. Men and women, both of you do that. Okay, here's the last one as to why men tend to not be in the dating game. Why 63% of men in North America under the age of 30 are single and they're doing it by choice. They're not dating by choice. The present day unwritten regulations and norms are not comprehensible by men and too harsh for men. I'm going to explain that one because that's a complicated one. The girl I was dating named Stephanie. I was new to the dating game. I liked her a lot when I was 18. And I would look at her with, I guess, I don't know, like puppy love in my eyes. And she would say to me, why do you have to look at me so serious? Like, I mean, it's okay to be serious, but not too serious. You're so serious when you look at me. Don't be serious like that. That's what it sounds like. What does it mean to look at somebody seriously, but don't look at me too seriously, but still be serious? What the hell is that? And that apparently is one of those unwritten rules that women have in their heads, that if I've only known this guy for a couple of months, he can look at me a little seriously, but not too much, because the relationship is too new. Otherwise, he's creepy. And guess who's here to make some commentary on point number 13? Melanie Spitzer, everybody. Melanie, you heard what I just said there? You got to take it from here. What's the deal with this nonsense? These unwritten rules as men that we have to navigate. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, it is true that typically we have certain ideas and certain standards in our minds already, and I guess that's where it would be helpful for you guys to be mind readers, but you're usually not. Actually, most of the time, you probably just need a big old 2x4 because you don't even get subtleties. But yeah, we're guilty of that. I will admit that, and I guess the only thing I could suggest is that as women, we need to communicate more clearly or be more specific so that you guys are aware of what we're expecting.
Yeah, and not pissed off and confused and ready to just walk out the friggin' door. And that it's one of those unwritten rules of dating or I guess women or society that men can't navigate. And we need someone to hold our hands through this stuff because it's hard. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It doesn't make any sense. So Melanie, you're looking at me all serious. Like, could you tone it down just a little bit? I like it when you look at me seriously, but not so serious. Because like, right, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now. Okay. We've only known each other a very short time. Just stop it. Like, what would you think if you heard that?
I would think this guy needs some therapy.
Yeah. I thought she needed therapy too when I first heard that kind of thing. But yeah, it's the Me Too movement. That's a problem. There's a lot of really nasty gals on the internet right now who are tweeting things out like, it's nice to know in our society that if I hate a man, I can make up some lie that he raped me 30 years ago and his life is destroyed. How do men navigate that?
That happens. Yeah, that does happen. And it's super unfortunate. Actually, I have zero respect for women that would falsely accuse anyone of that sort of thing, because that can be devastating and life-changing for someone. It's not cool at all.
No, not one bit. So anyway, there's 13 reasons why young men have walked away from dating in North America. Now, again, this is not me insulting women. This is me making a commentary on society, which really is not as decent as it used to be. And the dating game obviously is far more difficult today than it ever was in the past. So I want to address some questions here now. Really? This is in the really? Andrea Plant. Do I even want to read this? Kevin, you talk so much about your butt muscles, but you never showed us your butt. Will you put your money where your mouth is?
Well,
what does that mean? You want me to moon you on this show?
Well, I would say butt with clothes on, they might want to see, you know.
Well, I do have pictures, obviously, because I've been trying to explain to some people what hamstrings are. The hamstring muscle is one that people don't seem to understand. I know that hamstrings, I used to think that they were actually tendons. I didn't know that they were muscles until maybe about 10, 15 years ago. But no, tell you what, Andrea, no, not for free. Okay. You see the email address there at the bottom. You can do a donation, $50. We'll raise $50 tonight, and I'll show you the photograph that I would have to then download from this phone. And even then, I'll think about it. My Lord. Thank you, though.
You might get a date out of it. You never know.
You probably with a guy. Yeah. All right. So Gord is asking a question here. Oh no, not that one. This one. Are going to the movies on the first few dates a good thing or a bad thing? I personally would refrain from that every single time until you get to know them. First off, the movie you might go to sucks. Like Hollywood sucks today. And if you pick the movie, it looks bad on you. Number two, how do you have a conversation with the person to get to know them? I don't want to sit and cram popcorn in my mouth when I should be having a conversation like what Melanie and I are doing right now. I'd rather look the person directly in the eye and get to know them. So I would say movies, 10th date. That's how far I would push it. I would rather go axe throwing, walking, swimming. I don't know, go to the bar and throw some darts, play a game of pool, I don't know, Scrabble. There's a good one. Nothing wrong with that. But no, Gord, I would say stay away from movies for the first 10. Mel, your thoughts?
I would actually agree with you on this, unless you're extremely awkward with conversation at the start. So I guess if that's a date that you find you might feel more comfortable going on, then that's okay. But I think generally for most of us women, we actually do want to get to know you. So doing something where you could have conversation as part of the date would be ideal. I think, yeah.
Okay. So how many dates should you go on before you go to the movies?
I'd say 6.
Okay. So I said 10, you said 6. The average is 8. There you are. The consensus is in 8 dates before you spend time watching movies. However, I think it would be reasonable. This is my thought process only. I think it would be reasonable to watch a movie at one of your apartments or one of your places on about the 5th date. Now, but you kind of have to sell it. I mean, there's set movies that I just don't want to watch. I mean, romantic stuff is crap. Except there's one really, really, really good romantic movie out there that I recommend everybody watch to get an idea as to how to tell a proper romantic story. And that's called The American President. It's with Michael Douglas and with the good-looking chick with the short hair, Annette Bening, where the president is a widower and he meets a lobbyist, and the two of them hit it off, and all the trials and tribulations of a relationship having to be started as the president of the United States with the press breathing down your neck. It's very well written. And even though I hate Rob Reiner, he's a leftist idiot, he still made a good movie. So we'll give him that. Gord also wanted to make this comment. In 2009, I met a girl on Plenty of Fish, and she wanted me to take on her mega medical needs, in turn offering sex.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. What would the medical needs be? I can't imagine wanting to shave a woman's armpits for sex. I can't imagine wanting to drain pustules and whatnot on her back or forehead or whatnot in exchange for sex. I can't imagine doing anything medical for anybody in exchange for sex. That would be like a real turn off completely. If we're talking about blood and pus and things like that, ooh, no thanks. I'm out. Melanie?
I'm almost wondering if it was a financial need, taking care of medical financial bills, in which case, I actually think my heart kind of would feel bad for her if she feels the need to offer her body in exchange for funds. I mean, you're basically prostituting yourself at that point. So that's kind of sad. Yeah, I think that's very odd.
Well, I would highly recommend to walk away from that person as quickly as you possibly can. I don't know if anybody watching the show right now has read my favorite book, which is called The 48 Laws of Power. And one of the laws in there is to avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, avoid them at all costs. And the reason being is that they will drag you down into their world as opposed to building up your world. And anybody you're involved with should be building you up as opposed to ripping you down. So, Gord, I feel sorry for you on that one, man. That's not something I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
I've encountered a lot of women that say, "Hey, can you buy me a drink?" Or, "Hey, can you buy me dinner?" Or, "Hey, can you do something for free that costs you lots of money?" I've had lots of that. To which, of course, my answer is always no. And my favorite one, Mel, I actually put this in my book. My favorite one is when good-looking girls who know they're good-looking, they decide that they want to, what's the word? They want to sting you. They want to scam you in some way. All right. There was a bar in Toronto called the Barracuda. It was the coolest nightclub I'd ever been to. It was an old warehouse that had cranes inside. The actual, the overhead cranes. As a result of the overhead cranes, there were catwalks all over the place. So this bar had an indoor volleyball court, beach volleyball, dance floor, casual lounge. And on the top floor, it had air hockey tables everywhere, a couple of pool tables, and you could pay $5 and take a bunch of shots with an orange hockey ball on a street hockey goalie. And if you scored, you got a ticket to win a prize. So usually it was a bottle of liquor. All right. That you had to drink in the place, by the way. Cool place. And this gorgeous drop dead gorgeous 6'2" chick comes over to me. She's really cut, really fit, tight pants, all kinds of makeup, a little bit of sparkles in the makeup. And she goes, "Hi, how are you?" Like straight to me. Now, I got 3 of my friends with me who are all taller than I am. Why is she coming to me, the guy who's only 5'6"? I'm thinking right off the hop, this bitch wants something, man. She wants something. She goes, "Do you play air hockey?" I said, "No, I've never heard of it." So she says, "I'll play air hockey for a drink." So, so what, if I win, you buy me a drink? Is that how it works? Yeah. Okay, I'm in. I didn't tell her that I used to gamble on air hockey. I paid for college and I paid for my first car gambling on air hockey. I'm very good at air hockey. It's one of my favorite games on the planet. So I smoked her 7-0 because that's the maximum number of goals in air hockey. Like, you're an asshole. It's like every profane word known to man. I said, "Yeah, but you made a deal. I got witnesses. All right, I'll take a bloody Caesar." So she gets me the drink and she's all pissed off. And my buddy Chris comes over and says, "Man, you're so stupid. You're so stupid, man. Like, you should have let her win. You can take her home if you let her win." Like where's that written down? That's not a law. That chick wants to drink for free all night. You know what? Tell you what, you play her, you let her win. You look like an idiot. You buy her a drink. Let me see if you go home with her, please. So he plays, he loses, he buys her a drink. She talks to him for about 30 seconds and she leaves. I'm wise to this game. A fool and his money are soon parted. No. When women challenge me to something, I put my solid, all-out effort into it. The only time I don't put my effort into things is when I'm playing sports against toddlers, in which case they always win. All right. But there we go. So let me ask you this. This is my question to you. With the story I've just told you, and with the number of women who do this, could I ask you, why do women do this? Why do they want to appear like complete tramps and cheap whores for free drinks? Yeah,
Well,
let me hear.
honest answer. Most women that do that just want to know that they still got it and that they can still do it. That's it. That's it.
That's it.
Saves you money, and then you go home thinking, yeah, milkshake still brings the boys to the yard. So yeah.
Yeah, but this chick was like in her 20s, so she wasn't over the hill where she had to prove things to herself. Being over the hill.
No, but it seems like the younger women are, the more insecure they are. So yeah, it makes them feel good to know.
I don't know, Mel. I'm meeting a lot of women over 50 who are terribly insecure.
Oh,
I'm meeting a lot.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's too bad.
Well, yeah, but I'm just I think I know why, and it's because they know they can't have kids, so anymore. So their value would be less to men looking to have families, but like not every man who's on the open market's looking to have kids anymore. It'd
Right.
be, and that's
Yeah,
the truth.
I never thought of that. I guess that could be part of the reason.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, let's carry on. And Andrea, she's asking me again. She's trying to pressure me into doing something here. Andrea's saying she wants to see a picture of my ass.
Mhm.
I told you, donate $50 and we'll talk. There you go. Sorry, I can't laugh. I've got this rib injury from sleeping the wrong way. I can't even tell a great story about it. I can't inflate my lungs all the way because there's some kind of strain below my lungs. So if you hear me gasping for air, it's because I'm in a lot of pain today. Curly May says you can be over 50 and still have kids if you have the parts. Well, men, we can have kids to age 200. That doesn't change unless, of course, we have testicular cancer or, some major ailment. Yes, some women can get pregnant at 50, but not many. And women who are trying to have kids at 50 have a very high chance of those children having Down syndrome or birth defects, serious ones. So it's really not fair to the kid that they would have. Period. All right. I've got something to share now. Oh, wait, hold on. Liz is asking some questions here. Sorry, Liz, I just saw your questions now. Question. A lot of men want sex on the first date. I can't disagree with that statement. We're men. That's what we do. But if we are respectable men, it's not a requirement. It's a bonus, but not a requirement. And I am, again, I guess I'm at the age where I'm looking for really good conversation and looking for really good companionship. So I don't need to hop in the sack just because I bought you a cup of coffee. But yeah, a lot of men do. Yeah, they get mad when they don't. Tough shit. Too bad. That's how I see it. It's your vagina. You can do what you want with it. You don't have to say yes because some guy's putting the moves on. Yeah. And if he can't put up with it, dust him. Walk away from a guy like that. So men always say they want to get to know the woman. Well, those of us who are looking for companionship, we do. We absolutely would like to know her. And just to give you an idea here, before I got married, when I met my ex-wife, I think we had the conversation was so good and the times were so much fun. I didn't even make a move on her until the 5th date. So when a woman's able to maintain that level of attention in a man through good conversation and just a general good attitude, it'll happen when it happens. It's not going to be forced on you on the first date. But again, perhaps I'm different. I don't know. I really don't think I'm so different, though, that I would be the only guy who talks like this. I think a great deal of men are really eager to get their hands on a solid woman who really makes them feel good about themselves. So, yeah, you can judge for yourself if that guy's serious. If he says he wants to get to know you and then he's trying to bang you on the first date, dust him. He's a liar. But if he says he wants to get to know you and things happen in their own due time, then you give him a shot. That's how that works. So that's what I say to that, Liz, if that was your follow-up question. Okay. And Liz makes a good point. Only $50, you got to put a higher price on things. Yeah, I get that, but Canadians are broke. So, normally I'd say 5,000. I know that that's not attainable because it's not deliverable for most people. Most people are making $50 a day. That's about all I can say on that particular topic. All righty. Oh, so we got a $5 donation. I guess 10 more of those, and I'll think about it. I got to yank it off this phone for you. But all right, moving on. First date questions. Okay. Melanie, I'm going to make another brazen statement here. And I'm really hoping women are going to listen to this, including yourself. Don't go to women for advice on dating men. Don't do it. I'm going to show you an example of horrible dating questions. So let me bring this in. These are terrible. And I mean, and the title of this article, let me just pull this up. There we go. 21st date questions that'll show if you're a good match. Let's go through them, and I'm going to tell you which ones are the worst and why they are the worst. First off, it's Today Magazine putting this out. So this is women writing advice to women, specifically and only to sell magazines. Question number 1, where is it? What's your family like? We're on a date. I want to get to know you. All right, so here we go. I got a brother in jail. I got a dad in jail. I got a mother who got beaten. That's why my dad's in jail. Hey, what do you want to hear from that? What's my family like? I don't know. What are they like to me? What are they like to you? How are they perceived by the outside world? It's a stupid question because it's not going to go anywhere good. It's really not going to go anywhere good. So, Mel, is this a question that you would ask?
It's a question I would ask eventually, not maybe on the first date.
Then I would suggest that we change the wording of this question to something like this. Hey, tell me about your parents. There you go. Instead of this open-ended garbage question, what's your family like? Yeah. So don't ask this. All right. This one about how long have you been friends? I don't know what that's in reference to. Are you still close with college friends? Well, what's the correct answer to that? Probably not. I don't like. You wouldn't know them. So, Mel, if you're asking me, am I friends with people I went to college with? First off, me being in my 50s, the last time I was in college as a student was 31 years ago. No, I don't contact anyone because I didn't really have friends in college. I was there to learn and get the hell out. That's what I was there for. And that answer is negative. So why ask? And what if I said, oh, yeah, I'm still really good friends with Richard. You know, Richard, the guy with the car and the hair? Yeah. Where can this question go? Is this a question that women should ask according to you, Melanie?
No, actually, that is not a question I would ask. And wouldn't even be something that would remotely interest me or have any relevance. I'm looking for someone whose values align with me. So yeah, whether you're still buddies with someone you went to college with I don't know. It's not something I would think to ask anyone.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
care.
again, this is Today Magazine giving women bad advice. We're here to fix this up. All right. Next question. What are the top 3 items on your bucket list? Okay. So I could be funny and I could say, I'd like to grow 6 inches. I'd like another 6 inches on my penis and I'd like another 6 cars. I don't know. My bucket list? It's a stupid thing to ask. I mean, I could say I want to climb Mount Everest. Is that realistic? Probably not. You know, I'd like to go to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. Realistic? No, probably not. So you're forcing someone to think about a list of things that's in their bucket list that most likely are pie in the sky fantasy dreams. And the question itself can't lead to anything good because now what you're doing is you're asking them what their future wishes are. And you might find out that their bucket list is exactly opposite yours. If I said, yeah, I want a 6-inch bigger penis, you might think to yourself, well, I want a guy with a 1-inch penis. So we're not going to see eye to eye on that. Now, it's a stupid example, but it's a stupid example because it's a stupid question. Your thoughts?
I'd be more inclined to ask something like, where would you like to travel that you haven't traveled before?
There's a good question.
You know, something
First
like
one
that.
I would say Tokyo, Osaka, Moscow. 3 cities I really want to see. Boom. And then that could lead into, why would you like to go to Moscow? And then you talk about Moscow, which could lead to philosophical statements or could just lead to interesting historical facts or just interesting facts in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mel, that's a perfect question. And you're right. Someone says here, this magazine sucks so far. Today Magazine, yeah, they all suck. Here's one. What do you do for fun?
That's not so bad.
I play hockey, I play soccer, I play lacrosse, occasionally video games if I'm in pain or I'm trying to fall asleep. The occasional nightclub, jogging, walking. I could give you a list of a mile long. So what do I do for fun is too broad. How about this one? Name your 2 favorite activities. That, to me, makes sense. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I like 2 favorite activities, but I don't necessarily think the original question was a bad one. That's actually the only one I've liked so far in this article.
Mhm. Okay. But it's too broad.
It is
That
pretty broad, but
it's
I
broad.
mean, sometimes it is, if you're with somebody who likes to talk and the conversation flows easily, then they'll give you something to talk about for a long time. So there's that.
Okay. So my retort would just be to be more specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing wrong
Tell
with
me
it.
2 things you really enjoy. What are 2 things you do to entertain yourself?
Yeah,
Bingo. And
yeah.
guys, don't say masturbation. That's the wrongest possible answer. Okay. Just don't. Even if you're trying to be funny, don't.
Yeah. We
Trust me.
already know. We already know that's one of the answers. So yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, find 2 others. Okay. There we are. Then the other one we had is this is really stupid. If you had to donate money to a charity, which charity and why? What is this? Would you ever ask this question of a man you're trying to court?
No, no, no.
Holy jeez. No. Like, here's a question. Name 3 charities. I bet you can't do it. How would I know
Oh,
what I want to donate to?
right. Oh my
Don't
gosh.
ask
We need
that
to,
question, ladies.
we should rewrite the article. I think we need
Yeah,
to.
no, we absolutely should. Well, we're telling you what not to ask. All right, next one. What did you do this past weekend? Again, in dating, you're getting to know each other. Well, I went to the beach with Rick and Steve, and then we met over with Paul. And Paul's car blew up. You know Paul, right? The guy that's got the blue car. No, you're not going to know anything. You're going to have 0 point of reference to what this guy is talking about. So, ladies, I would say don't ask this question. Ask something flirtatious instead. Hey, how would you show me a good time on the weekend? Your
Oh,
thoughts?
yeah, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't mind answering that one. I think you could ask, did you do anything fun on the weekend?
That's a bit too
Also.
broad because the answer is
Uh,
yes. Next question. So I can't even laugh. This hurts. No, it's too broad. I think the point that I really want to make here, Melanie, is
that
we need you lovely, lovely ladies out there to be more specific when you're asking questions. Broad stuff sucks because then you're talking like a lawyer. And I hate
all
lawyers.
right.
Oh,
Right,
there you go. Curly, this one's okay. Curly, what are your plans for the weekend or next weekend? But if you're on a date with someone, if you're hitting it off, you want to try to incorporate yourself into the person's future thought processes. So, what would you do? Where would you take me on a date on the weekend? Like, make it more encompassing because it is so much more interesting to converse about that. Okay.
Mhm.
Would you rather win $1 million for surviving being dropped in the desert or swimming with sharks? Okay, that's a little better, but I'd have to
Mhm.
ask you which desert? Sahara and the middle, the north, the south, the east, the west, Death Valley in California. Again, the middle, north, southeast. In winter or in summer, a lot of sub questions have to come out of that one. And then
Mhm.
sharks. Well, what kind of sharks? Nurse sharks, red sharks, lemon sharks, carpet sharks, like the harmless ones? Or are we talking great whites and makos here? Tiger sharks? Like the answer is no to both. But if it's nurse sharks, yeah, absolutely. I'll go down there and play with them. This question,
Yeah,
I think it's silly.
it's kind of lame. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really silly. I can't imagine earning respect asking this question.
I feel like by this point in the article, they're grasping at straws and looking for something to write.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do you de-stress after a tough day? I
Oh.
call my buddy Steven because he's a comedian. He's funny. You know Steven. No, you don't know Steven. Okay. I pour myself a hot cup of coffee and crash on the couch for half an hour. Better not say that because women do not like it when a man is sleeping on the couch. I don't know why that is, but I would never say that I'm going to chill on the couch. Cannot give that in. Men, do not ever tell a woman that you like to crash on the couch from time to time, right? Because time to time to you could mean once a year, but time to her is every single day when she comes home. You'll be sleeping on the couch. And a man sleeping on a couch is a crime against humanity. Now, why is that, Melanie?
I think that women tend to look at that as laziness, and we usually come home and have chores. So it is kind of annoying. Like I was married to one. He would literally spend all of his time from the time he got off work and came in the door until he went to bed. Aside from sitting down and eating dinner, he would spend it on the couch, either watching TV, video gaming, or napping. And meanwhile, I come home and I prep supper and I cook supper and I serve supper and then clean up after supper. And yeah, I pretty much don't stop until 9 o'clock. Yet he's just sitting there having a great old time relaxing. So
Okay.
I think that's what it is.
That sucks. And my father was like that, but it wasn't a couch. He had his favorite chair, a chair that was given to him by some friend of his back in 1968. And even though he wore the arms out of it, he wore everything out of it, he still had the chair. For him, it was television all night. Come upstairs for dinner, put his dish in the sink, back downstairs in front of the TV. Yeah. And my mother later in life, she told me that, oh, he was so lazy. I just wanted to go out once a week. Thinking, oh, okay. Well, when I hit my 30s, Ma, why didn't you tell me that? I would have taken you somewhere, anywhere, bowling alley, casino, somewhere. But I get what you're saying. And my mother waited until she was in her 60s to pipe up about it.
No.
Not the right time to pipe up about it.
No.
But here's one. I did live with my last girlfriend before I got married. So this is back in like 1999 to 2000. And there were 3 separate times where I started my days early, like between 4 and 5 in the morning. They were long, hard, rotten days. Got home, boom, put on a stupid movie, crashed on the couch. She came home screaming at the top of her lungs about me being irresponsible and I'm sleeping on the couch again. Now, I was dating this girl for about a year. 3 times this happened. I slept on the couch. In her mind, it was every single day. And it was extremely debilitating. Naturally, it drove me away from her. Naturally, it hurt the relationship immensely. And eventually I told her to get out, get the F out of my house. I'm done. We are done. This is over. Can't do this anymore. So what would cause a woman to do that, considering that her view on reality was excessively skewed? Go ahead.
What would cause a woman to do that? Wow. I would have to say probably an unresolved trauma issue. I think that a lot of women don't deal with their shit, and then it comes out in manifests its way into relationships as dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. No, I get that. Ladies, don't do it. Okay. If let's say, for example, your man's crashed on the couch and you come home, you don't have to be excessively quiet. Keep living your life if you live with him. If he hears you and he goes, oh, hey, baby, how are you? He gets up, gives you a hug and a kiss. Then you know you've got him. He's your man. It's not like he's looking for a free night of doing absolutely nothing. But if he stays on the couch, doesn't acknowledge your presence, yeah, be upset about that.
Especially if that's a habit. If that's a habit, then yeah, I think she has a right to be pissed.
Excellent. Okay. And Liz is asking about sharing the chores. Is it okay for it to be 50-50? It's never going to be 50-50. When I was married, there were some weeks it was 100% me because she was sick. In fact, right after we had our first kid, it was 100% me for a month. I'm a man. You got to do it. You step up to the plate. It's what you signed up for. Just do it. And then there were times it was 100% her because, I was snowboarding that day. So it's just how it is. It's going to be 20-80. It's going to be 70-30. It's going to be 60-40. It's going to be 51.5 sometimes. No, it's never going to be 50-50. But I think a better question, Liz, and a better statement I could make here is it okay to have a chore list? where it's your job on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays to do dishes, and he gets the other days. And then you alternate that the next week. Is that okay? Sure. Because some guys need that, just for the record. Like, men are just not going to think, okay, dishes are my priority. I just worked a 9-hour day. I drove an hour in traffic there, an hour in traffic back, and I just cannot wait to get those dishes done. Yeah. No, that's not what he's thinking about. So you can say, hey, baby, it's your day for dishes, and smile. Maybe grab his crotch or something. Blow him a kiss. You know, wink. Yeah. Or you can go, hey, dishes are for you the day I What's going to happen then? He might throw the dishes in the garbage. All right. So don't attack. Flirt. Flirt, 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 flirt. Never attack. Never be your man's adversary. Always be your man's lover. All right. There we go.
Good advice.
Curly's saying something here. I think too many men and women think that they're almighty and don't respect one another, like the old-timers. So the old-timers, they respected each other. Yeah, there was respect in relationships back in the day. Yeah. The simple rule of you cook, I clean. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I cook. I don't cook incredibly well. My ex-wife cooked incredibly well. So she would cook, I would clean. There's nothing wrong with that. It's manners. That's how I see it. It's good manners. All right. Let's go back to these lame questions. These are questions never to ask on a first date if you are a woman. All right. If they made a film of your life, who would play you?
Oh.
No. Because there's no correct answer. You know, there was a day when I thought Robert De Niro was really cool. Then he ended up being a left-wing, pro-pedophilia, anti-Trump, anti-white, anti-America loser, not paying attention to the fact that America is why he's rich. So, no, that answer would have changed. 20 years ago, yes. Now, no. What if she hates Robert De Niro? This is a setting yourself up for failure bit. It's the same idea as, hey, do you love Donald Trump? Like, that's not first date stuff. Political views, well, as such, are not first date questions. Melanie, would you ever ask this stupid question?
Oh, I probably asked some stupid questions. I mean, I started lots of first dates off with about the COVID vaccines because it mattered to me. I wasn't going to waste my time on people that have had them, so I might as well just get that out in the open.
Okay, well, that's one I agree with.
Oh, okay. It's
And
kind
with
of
me being,
political though, but you know.
well, it's a little political, but it's certainly not going to be me saying, hey, would you have sex with, like, I don't know, Donald Trump or Justin Trudeau? It's a bit much. But
Right.
yeah, did you take any of these mRNA poison vaccines? Yes or no? And if she says yes, then my answer is no. I get that. But I would also be equally critical if someone had HIV or was a smoker or was an alcoholic or was a cocaine user.
Fair.
Yep. And that's something that I usually determine in the first phone call because I'm on a couple of dating apps right now. And I don't know. The conversations really don't go anywhere. But these are questions I ask. You drink, you smoke, you do drugs, you're vaccinated. Get those out of the way. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure the answer is no to all of those. Now we can talk. All right. But Melanie, I mean, really, let me ask the question the way it sounds to me. You imagine you and I are on a date. All right. If they made a film of your life, who would play you? That's what it sounds like to me.
Right.
Now, would you actually answer that question?
Oh gosh, you know what? I am so anti-Hollywood. I don't even know actresses' names, so I don't think I could answer that question if it was asked to me.
Exactly. So, stupid question, everybody. Stupid question. All right. Next is, I don't get this one at all. What is your love language?
Oh, see,
Huh?
I talked about these. They're
Okay,
actually
you
kind
better
of,
answer this one.
I think they're important. However, I don't think it's a first date question because a lot of people are completely oblivious to what they are. It's a conversation to have eventually in a relationship because honestly, when you learn someone's love language, you can love them better. you can make them feel more adequately loved just simply by knowing how they need to be loved.
Okay. So on the first date, I'm going to tell you my innermost secrets and tell you exactly the best and absolute only way to earn my love and for you to love me. So if I was to tell you, I tell you the truth, which every woman says they want, and say, yeah,
Mhm.
talk dirty to me. The more vile, the better. The more vulgar, the better. That's my love language. Now, what's happened here is if you're not a vulgar person or you think what I said is gross, the date's over. Right? And I think intimacy is one of those things that couples eventually they get into. Obviously, everybody gets into it, but that's a learning curve that's supposed to be fun and exciting. It's certainly not first
Yeah,
date talk.
it's not a first date question. No, no, save
All
that one.
right.
Yeah.
This is the only interesting one so far. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
Okay,
But
that's kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
that one's okay because
Yeah.
most boys collected comic books when they were young, and most boys watched whatever superhero cartoons there were on Saturday mornings. They don't do Saturday morning cartoons anymore, but that one is one that I would actually talk about, assuming if she's going to ask, I'm assuming she knows something about comic book lore. Because if you don't know the lore, it's a stupid question. And Curly has a good one here. Most guys would say X-ray vision. Now, I would say, and I would never say X-ray vision because it wouldn't work. You would just see black in front of your eyes because X-rays have to bounce off of a surface and then come back to you. So it wouldn't work the way Hollywood says it does. And and someone says teleportation. This opens up a really cool conversation here because let's say you could go poof, disappear here, and poof, reappear somewhere else. Here's the problem: you'll end up in space. Why? The planet's rotating at 1,500 miles per hour. The planet is orbiting the sun at the tune of what? 27,000 miles per hour, in that range. The sun is orbiting the center of the Milky Way galaxy at about 500,000 miles an hour. So you'd have to compensate for that speed. How would you ever do that? So I think that question, if you're dealing with someone who's thought this through, could go somewhere. But Melanie, do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm a Marvel fan, so I've watched some,
Oh, okay. So then if I was
read
to,
some comics.
okay, so then I would, knowing that you know Marvel, in the teleportation thing I just explained to you, that would be me telling you that Nightcrawler would be the only one that I would go with because he doesn't actually have to teleport from one place to another. He can stay wrapped up in another dimension until it's time for him to pop out. So that dimension opening can be anywhere. And I'm assuming that dimension follows the Earth's speeding through the galaxy and the universe. I assume. So I guess we could make it not a debate, but bouncing ideas back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yes. Okay.
That-
Maybe
that
we
would-
can get
that would be
everybody in
an
there.
interesting answer.
This is the only question I've liked so far because it could lead to a longer conversation. But so far, everyone who's in the Rumble and Facebook chats, tell us what you think of these ridiculous questions. I hate them. Tell us what you think. By all means. All right. Here's another stupid one. What is your guilty pleasure? Sex. I'm a man. Jesus, what a stupid question that is. My God, I don't know. For me, it's coffee and chocolate. Sex, coffee, chocolate. Repeat. More. I wouldn't ask this question. Never. I would never ask a woman this question.
Especially a first date question. I mean, that might be something that comes up eventually, but yeah,
I don't know. Mel, would you ask this question?
I would not. Oh, maybe eventually if you're looking for things to talk about, but first date, no, that wouldn't be on my list.
Okay, so any ladies out there that want to date me, sex, coffee, and chocolate. There you go. Don't bother asking because it's a really stupid question. All right. If you had to redo 1 year of your life over, which one would it be and why?
Oh. If they were thinking too hard to make this article, or seriously.
I wouldn't. I don't regret any decisions that I've made at all. Zero.
Mhm.
They've led me down pathways that were both good and bad. I'm the man I am today because of my mistakes. There's not a single solitary year that I would ever live over. And I think this kind of question is stupid. Now, but if Mel, if you asked that and I just gave the answer to you that I delivered right here, where I wouldn't, there's not a single year that I would live over.
Mhm.
Would you accept that as an answer, or would you accept that as me dodging you? Because that is an answer. That's my answer. Go ahead.
I would accept that as an answer. Yeah.
But would you ask
Quite.
that question?
I would not actually ask that question. Yeah. I think it's
There you
dumb.
go.
So far, I've only liked 2 of these questions. What are we at? Like 12? 2 out of 12?
What are we at so far? That was question number 14.
Oh, wow.
Question 15. What's your hidden talent?
That's
See,
a
the problem with like, what's your hidden talent does that mean a talent that you haven't discovered yet? Is that what that means? Or is
or
this a
one that
talent that you
you
make
keep
money on the
hidden
side with your
from.
talent? Go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's a talent you keep hidden from most people because it's strange. So that's a very
Oh,
risque question.
okay. And again, not to be a pig about it, but cunnilingus is mine, man. Like I'm the best at it. I like the best of the best of the best. There's no one better. It's not even a hidden talent. Now it's public. So it's a stupid question. It wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It would actually probably elicit a one-word answer. So, ladies, that question sucks too.
It does.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it does.
Yeah.
This is more like a fat woman in 1975 asking the question who doesn't have anything going on in her life. What's the most memorable place that you have visited? I don't know. For me, this question has come up a few times. And you know me, I'm honest. So the most memorable for me was my time in the war zone in Myanmar. But it's a depressing story. You know, I don't want to talk about me having to look at dead bodies as a journalist. So what do? Do I lie and say, oh yeah, Florida? What do I do here? Do I lie or do I tell the truth?
Always tell the truth.
Oh, there we go. So the truth is going to lead to me discussing stuff that's less than laudable. However, it's not a terrible question, but it's not
I
really
would
it's not
I
first
would
date material.
change. Yeah, no, I would change it slightly though, and I would say, um, out of all the places you've been or traveled to, what's your favorite? That's what I would ask instead of
Yeah,
the memorable. You know.
much better. Ask that one. Never mind this article. Okay. Check this one out. Would you tell someone if you knew their partner was cheating on them? This is not first date material
No, definitely not.
at all.
No.
Because now what's going to happen here is, again, if I want to be honest, let's say that it's my best buddy in the whole world, the guy that pulled me out of a burning car or the guy that pulled me out of a crashing airplane, you know, and he's cheating on his wife that I can't stand. I hate her. I hate her guts. And I know he's cheating. And I know this because he's doing it in the backseat of my car while I'm driving. No, I'm not going to tell her that. But I'm not going to answer that question on a first date. Don't ask that question, ladies. That is a stupid question.
It's
Mel,
terrible.
your thoughts?
Yeah, that is not a first date question at all.
Okay. This one's horrible too. Ready? How did you find the pandemic?
Oh gosh.
You could be funny about it and say, you know, I found it when I was looking for my socks under my bed. So by lifting the covers, I found it. It's dumb. How did I find the pandemic? I have to tell the truth and say, there was no pandemic. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have probably said, "Oh, you mean the plandemic?" Yeah, I would have probably corrected them. The scamdemic? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a
Is it
terrible question.
is this a
Again,
first date question?
no, no.
There we go. All right. What are you most proud of?
Okay, that's not so bad.
All right. Me. Yeah, I was told today on my TikTok live that I'm really in love with myself. It's not that I'm really in love with myself, but I certainly have a lot of self-love. There's a difference between the two. So what am I
Yeah.
most proud of? Me. I've made some pretty interesting decisions which has led my life to be a little more interesting than the average. But what would that mean to the person asking the question? They would have no point of reference. Yeah. Your thoughts? Would you
Yeah.
ask this question?
I don't think I would ask it, but I think I've been asked it. And oh yeah, I think there's some really predictable answers to that question, though. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say kids, career, things like that. I think when I was asked that question, one of the things I'm most proud of is my first self-titled CD that I recorded in 2004. So that would have been my answer, because that was
Okay.
a labor of love, and it was nice to see it finally come into fruition and be a tangible item that paid off. So all that hard work paid off.
So
So
it's not a horrible question, but
not
it's also
horrible.
not great. It's not great.
It's not. Yeah, it's not great, because I think a lot of the answers to a lot of people would be very predictable.
Oh, very. I think 9
Proud.
times out of 10, we'd very
Yeah.
much be able to predict the answer.
Yeah. Top 2 answers, I bet, would be my kids or my career, my success.
Probably. Last one. So what are our next steps? No, 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 no,
Oh.
no, no. Women, do not take advice from women on how to talk to men.
Yeah. It's not good.
No. You know what you say? The end of the date? I like you. Can we do this again tomorrow? Ta-da. That'll get your man's attention, or the man's attention. Melanie, what should a man say? He shouldn't say that. What should he
No.
say?
What are our next steps? Yeah, no, that's terrible. That sounds very planny and a little bit creepy. But like you said, I enjoyed this. We should do it again, or can we do it again? I think that's the perfect segue or ending to your interview, your date interview.
It is an interview.
It
Dating,
is.
it's a job interview.
Yeah.
It's shopping. I
Yep.
agree with that fully.
Especially the
Um,
first date. Yeah.
But I want to encourage all the ladies watching this show to be far more direct in your language. You cannot leave anything open-ended. And one more thing, don't ever freaking say maybe. Whoa, that's horrible. Yeah, because I know that maybe, with the smile and the twirling hair, I know that means yes, but only if you charm me with the exact sentence I want to hear in the exact tone in which I want to hear it. That's what that means. You know what that means to me? This chick's an idiot and I'm gone. That's what it means. So that maybe crap, I'm gone. I like yes and I like no. I don't like no as much as I like yes, but at least I know where I stand when I'm getting the answer. So women, no maybe. Be definitive. If he asks, would you care to join me for dinner? 6 p.m. Sunday. Say yes or say no. Let me check my calendar. Don't say that. It's rude, because he knows you're full of shit. Yes or no? Period. Or if you're going to check your calendar, I'm going to call you in 15 minutes and let you know if I'm free. And then call within 15 minutes. But one thing I have noticed, Melanie, is that I've never been able to get women to keep their deals. This has been a very big problem for me and a lot of men that I know. A lot of, even with their wives, you make a deal and women go back on it thinking that I guess as men, we're just supposed to put up with it. And we will for a short while. And then after a while, we'll give up. And then we might even get rude about it, saying, you know what? Just piss off. Really, I don't like you. Just go the fuck away. Just get lost. And this has happened. I mean, I've told many of my girlfriends that same thing, where I don't get straight answers. We make deals and she breaks them. She'll blame me for whatever her particular emotional state is and so on. And I put up with it, as men, we do. But then I get to the breaking point. Now, I don't lash out with screaming and yelling and whatnot, but I do say, yeah, this evening's over. I'll see you in a couple of days, maybe, and walk. I've got too much self-respect to be putting up with that kind of nonsense. And ladies, it is nonsense. And that's how you make enemies, not friends. Just so you know. So in the dating game, Melanie, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Answer the question. Melanie, here's the test I do. You can tell me if you like this or not. Quite frankly, I don't care, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When I'm on a date with a woman and I'm questioning in my mind, can this person go a day without driving me nuts? I'll ask the question. What color is the table? Melanie, what color is my shirt?
It's black.
Thank you. Do you know how many times I've been unable to get an answer? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? We're sitting at a table. What color is the table? I don't know. Okay, I'll try this one more time. What effing color is the effing table? Hey, I'm not sure. Like, it's brown. The answer is brown. It's a brown wooden table. You can't answer that simple question. You will never get along with me, and vice versa. We're done. I got to go. I can't handle that. So answer his questions. I mean, if they're really personal and you don't want to answer them, that's fine. Your bra size or your PIN number, that's not his business until you decide that is after the relationship begins in some particular stable way.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell the guy what color the table is, conversation's over, especially with me. Answer the question and you'll do a lot better in life.
That's fair. Yeah.
Curly May, hold on. That goes both ways, not just one way. Well, yeah, I agree. I would tell all the ladies out there, if you got some guy that can't tell you what color the table is, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Walk. Get up and walk. And quickly, too, because he's stupid. So there we go. We've now learned that Today Magazine and any other women's magazine or any other media targeted at women is absolutely incorrect in everything that it says. Never go to advice from about men from women. Unfortunately, what happens, gals, a lot of you go out and you get advice from women, and these women tend to be lonely and angry and a little bit feminist. And their answer to everything is, I'll break up with them. And the answer to that a lot of therapists give, especially if they're women, marriage counselors and therapists, yeah, he's not the right guy for you. He doesn't respect you. Break up with him. Divorce him. You're going to get a lot of that. So don't go to women for advice. Go to a man for advice. I'm serious about this. God, I'm proud of this. I saved a couple of my female friends' marriages. I gave them advice. Like, they came to me telling me what their friends told them. I said, your friends are morons. They're not your friends. They're angry that you have something they don't have. Like, subsequently, I did ask, out of curiosity, and subsequently, were these women that you went to advice on your marriage married? No. And there you go. Right off the hop. Wrongest people in the world to go to.
Yeah.
So in the dating game or the relationship game, don't get advice from women about men. But it's okay for men to get women or advice about women from women. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because you'll probably get a correcter answer that way, especially if the woman you're asking knows you're not trying to get in her pants and you're trying to get in someone else's. So she'll help you be away from her. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we are.
Why. And I think that also should go both ways. If men want advice on women, yeah, go to a woman. Don't go to your buddies.
Oh, yeah, guys, because I know a lot of times you're frustrated. You don't know what to do about arguments and whatnot in your relationship. You go to your buddies. What are your buddies going to say? Yeah, dump the bitch, man. Let's get out of here. Go to the bowling alley. Let's go to the strip joint. That's the answer. Everyone's answer is walk away from your problems. That's everybody's answer. And if that is the solution that they're offering you after just one sentence that you've told them, they don't know the story. They don't know what's at risk. Are there kids involved? I bet they didn't ask. Is there an inheritance involved? I bet they didn't ask. Is there a real problem going on health-wise or mental health-wise? They didn't ask. They just said, oh, yeah, you should be strong, independent woman. Break up with them. Get rid of them. Divorce them. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering if we got our point across. I certainly hope that we have. And Jason is calling us a train wreck. Jason, is that the show in general, or is that the article that I was reading? Let us know in the comments below. And no, we did not meet the donation amount tonight. So sorry, ladies, or sorry, Andrea. I'm not going to show you a picture of my ass. There you go. So we said $50 minimum. Donate at the bottom there. That's the email money transfer email address. The answer is no otherwise. There you go. You got to have standards. So I'm not giving it away for free. How does that sound? Done.
Yeah.
All right. So we're running short on time here, Melanie. I know that both you and I do have to go early tonight. Were there any concluding statements you wanted to make on tonight's dating advice?
Well, I just I think it's interesting to have those questions, and I feel like you and I should come up with a couple of our own for the next show, because I feel like we could give people a little better chance out of the shoots if they're equipped with what the opposite sex would like to hear on a first date. So maybe we should kind of compile our own little 5 top questions that a guy should ask a woman and a woman should ask a guy.
Man, I'd really have to think about every question I've ever asked. I mean, I know which questions not to ask. I can tell you guys in the next show which ones got drinks thrown on me, and which ones got them stepping up and walking out the door. I mean, I've had a couple times. I've had 2 drinks tossed in my face, and I've had at least 3 women walk out of the restaurant without paying their tab. That's the part that pissed me off the most. Yeah, I'm not getting laid tonight, and I got to pay for this. Oh, that's harsh.
You probably deserved it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I deserve some of it. Maybe not all, but I'm sure I deserve some of it. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Actually, Curly makes a good point. Staying together and family is more important than anything else. Yeah, it is. It's certainly more important than any of the negative opinions being thrown at you by friends of yours who are jealous of you. Yeah. Those opinions they're not even opinions. That's just someone being a complete ass. And if you've got friends who are so willing to hurt you that they'll lie to you about what the possibilities are of saving your marriage, then they're not your friends. You got to dust them. You know what, ladies, here's a test. Mel, you can tell me if you think I'm right or wrong here. This is a test that women could do. They can talk to their husband and say, hey, I would like to test and see which one of my female friends are actually friends. So work with me here. Let's fake an argument, or I'll just tell them that you and I have been arguing for the last month and a half, and that I'm not happy, and let's see the advice they give. And your husband says, yeah, I can't wait to see which one of your friends are nuts. Yeah, sure. Like that would be cool. And then proceed to lie to your friends about having marriage troubles and see what their solutions are, and see how many of them say, oh yeah, divorce his ass. I never liked him anyway. Like, just let's see how often that happens. Your thoughts, Melanie?
Ooh, yeah, that's risky. You might learn some things about your friends you wished you hadn't if you have that little experiment. I don't know. That's a risk. But if you're really wanting to know, I guess that's one way to do it.
It's just a suggestion. I wouldn't say do it, but I'm suggesting that you think about the possibility of one day considering it. You know, but yeah, I mean, like stressful situations and situations of extreme emotion are the ones that teach us the most about the people in our personal lives. This COVID crap taught me which members of my family were retards, which ones were cowards, which ones were callous. Taught me who my friends were and who they weren't. I can tell you that right now. I lost friends out of it. But we're talking about people that would just bark at me at the top of their lungs saying, what happened to you? You used to be such a cool guy. Why don't you get a needle? Mate, what? Somehow getting needles I don't need is cool? Next, you're going to tell me putting a line of cocaine up my nose is cool. I mean, you had to drink beer at a party when you were 17 to be cool. And then you would puke your guts out in the backyard. It wasn't so cool then. And that's the problem. So I think maybe finding out who your real friends are is not necessarily a bad suggestion. Okay. And I'm not sure I fully understand that comment, Curly. But yeah, I mean, everything depends on the situation. Is it abusive or not? But I mean, what we're talking about here today is we certainly don't want to be giving advice to people that hurts them or their children or their families. And here we are talking about dating tonight, because we don't want you asking stupid questions that are going to blow the date for you. And so we are offering suggestions to keep things just a little bit more palatable for yourself and everybody else around you, including your date. All right. Melanie, do you have anything else to add?
I just want to add that I think on when we're dating and you're starting to get to know each other, you definitely, I think it's wise to think out those questions because you don't want to waste too much time. And I think by the third date, you'll know whether that person has potential or not. So it might take at least that. I mean, sometimes you know by the first date that there absolutely is no potential. But I think we should definitely consider which questions we're asking because you don't want to invest a bunch of time in someone or have them invest a bunch of time in you if it's not going to go anywhere. So
No, I agree with that statement fully. Yes.
yeah,
And
that's so wise.
like,
Think about the questions and have them prepared. Maybe.
well, the older we get, I think the more we know what to ask and what not to ask. And the older we get, the more we know exactly to a T what we want and what we don't want and what we'll tolerate and what we won't. And there are things that people will do on the first, second, and third dates that will indicate that right away.
Yeah.
And if they're doing egregious things that you cannot stand on date number 3, then there is no potential.
Yes.
So, walk, but be polite about it. You don't
Yeah.
have to say, yeah, I despise you. You're stupid. You're an idiot. Just, hey, listen, thank you for the time. I don't see a future in this, but I wish you all the best.
Exactly.
Be nice, be polite,
Yeah.
be a man about it,
Exactly.
or be
Yeah.
a woman
And
about
let's just avoid the female woke magazine articles. Let's avoid those because
it.
clearly
Yeah,
they're
stay
not
away from
helpful.
Today Magazine. Yeah.
Not helpful.
Yeah, all of them. Stay away from every single women's magazine out there. Shoo. Wow. So, Andrea, I'm going to disappoint you this evening. Nobody donated $50. No one gets to see a shot of my ass, even though I don't necessarily think that everybody wants to see it. That might just be you. But communicate with me on my website, kevinjjohnston.ca, and perhaps we'll talk and perhaps we won't. It's all perhaps. I'm not committing to a damn thing. How does that sound? I sound like a chick now, don't I?
I'll think about it. Maybe.
I'll think about it. I'll think about thinking about it. There we go. Melanie, a pleasure as always. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Have a good week.
You too. That's Melanie Schweitzer, everybody. And this is the Dating Advice Show. That's every Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions, there's the email address right down there below. Always send your questions over. I'll address every question that comes in. And if you have any statements you want to make, or if you want to be a guest on the show, again, email me all your contact information to the email address below. That is it for now, everybody. We will see you all in a week. Have a great night.